there everyone, what's going on? And today we are playing Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama. I can speak.
Would you like me to read you the little flavor text here?
I think I would. I would quite enjoy that.
The enchanted forest of the Kodama is flourishing, but with so much growth, the ancient paths to the sanctuaries within have become overgrown and lost. Now with forest guardians call upon you, their loyal Kodama, to restore these paths. Help your Kodama build these paths, gather offerings for the guardians, and win their favor.
Ooh.
So this is sort of a roll and write, flip and fill style game.
I think it's a flip and fill. I think the rolling is for the solo variant.
Yeah.
There's a die involved.
To be honest, I have kind of a hard time making a real distinction between flip and fills and roll and writes.
Gasp!
I mean, I understand one of them is flipping cards and the other is rolling dice, and I get that that's different. So it is technically a flip and fill, but to me that's basically the same thing as a roll and write. So anyway, it is a flip and fill. This one can support solo play and up to 8 players with just this one tiny box, which I think is incredible.
We can do it all.
Most of the time games cap out at 4 or 6, but 8 is truly impressive.
Got some range.
We're not sure if the gameplay is impressive though. We're going to give it a try for the first time ever. We got this one in a trade. I don't remember what I traded for it, but I was trading. The gentleman wanted a couple of different games that we owned, and I was only interested in one of the ones he had for trade. And he was like, well, would you take this one for this other game that you have? I really want that one. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I don't want this game, and he wants it, so I'm willing to trade for it. So we sort of blindly traded for this one here, because it sort of came with another one that I wanted. But when we got it, we started looking at it, and I was like, actually, this kind of seems like it could be fun. So we're going to give it a try. It's, like I said, it's sort of a flip and fill where we are making paths on this board here. And essentially what's going to happen is we're going to play a series of rounds. In every round of the game, we are going to turn over cards that are going to indicate what we can draw on our maps. So we'll turn over these kinds of cards, and then every time we turn over a card, we'll draw in a space on our map, one of these things here. And we're basically trying to connect these different icons on the board. There's flowers and there's worms. We're trying to connect them to different things, which are revealed at the start of each round.
But that's that right there is what you're going to be scoring for that round.
Right. So when this round ends, we're going to score how many of these icons we were able to connect to Tower A. So we're trying to use these cards here to build this path to connect icons to Tower A. After we've played through, I believe it's 4 rounds? 5 rounds. After we played through 5 rounds, we will also score a point for every worm that we've been able to attach to this woman here, and a point for every flower that we're able to attach to this lion here. So as long as I can somehow route a path that connects flowers to the lion and worms to the lady, then we'll get some extra points for those. But you will lose points if you are not able to score in one of the 5 rounds of the game. And the way that would happen is that every round of the game, you have to score more points than the round previous. Otherwise, you score 0. So for example, if in the first round, if I connected these worms right here and this worm right here, and then the round ended, I would have 4 worms. And if I don't, and 2 flowers, so I'd have 6 points. If in the next round I was maybe I managed to only get 3, instead of, I would have a 6 here and I'd have a 0 here because I was not able to beat the 6 that I had in the previous round. And then at the end of the game, every 0 in this column is actually worth -5 points. So you would add that to this section down here, you total up your points, and whoever has the most points wins. Box time says 15 minutes. It feels like that's probably going to be fairly accurate. So I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I think it would be a fairly plain, simple roll and write game, except with that scoring of that, you have to have a better score every round in order to actually be able to
interesting.
score.
It's gonna be like an interesting challenge. So it's not just kind of like I'm just doing this to get the points and it's like you're not just going through the motions.
It also has like variable rounds, so we will only end a round when there are 4 visible cards of a certain type. So if like who knows where they're at in the deck, we will turn over cards sort of randomly, and so that the rounds will be a variable length every round, which I think is going to be particularly interesting because when trying to score each round, you know what the objective is, but you don't know how long you have to fulfill it. So I think it's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to be
a nice little filler.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to overstay its welcome, which will be nice.
Nice. All right, well, we'll get back to you guys when we get to a mid-game point, and then back again once we have a winner or loser. See you guys in a bit. Bye. Hello, Sarah. Getting that nice, cold, refreshing cup of water. I have that BGG 2019 glass. So fancy.
I think we have 4 BGG glass tumblers in our cabinet.
We do.
So we're about halfway through Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama. It has been a interesting,
I'm stressed.
chaos-filled ride.
But it's been fun.
Yeah, it's very quick. It's very simple. The chaos comes from the puzzle.
Yes. This is my puzzle that's going on. And then
this one's mine. So it is a flip and fill on players play simultaneously. Every round of the game we turn over a new sanctuary card, and it tells us which of the different sanctuaries on the board will score. So we're heading into this round here where C will be the scoring sanctuary. So what's going to happen is at the end of this round, which is going to be when we have 4 of these yellow cards face up anywhere in the like cards that come out. As soon as we get our 4th one, the round will end, and we'll score Tower C for every icon that we were able to connect to it. So already, because in a previous round I placed this here, already I'll score at least 2. However, in the previous round I did pretty well. I scored 13 points. If I can't score at least 14 points this round, I will score 0, which means at the end of the game I'll actually lose 5. So I feel like I've been able to connect quite a bit of my stuff here. But we are, this is the second to last round in the game. And when the game ends, we will not just score for the connections we've been able to make each round of the game. We'll also score for worms that will have been able to connect to this lady here and flowers we've been able to connect to the lion down here. And I have not done a terribly fantastic job of that. So I'm hoping that over the next round, the next 2 rounds, that I'll be able to connect some of these paths. If I can just get a few key things here and there, I'll really be able to connect all of my paths fairly well. And hopefully that means I'll score a lot of points. But I need those cards to come out sort of in my favor to be able to do that. So yeah, how's it going over there?
It's going good. It's I still got I didn't get a 0 yet, so we'll see how that ends up.
I have gotten 1 0 so far.
So that might be a
and
deciding
you got 11
factor.
Points on this previous round?
Yeah, so I have to do better than 11. So it's going by fast. It's a nice, like we said, I think at the beginning, it was a nice, we think it was gonna be a nice filler, and it's kind of turning into that, like, filler or game that you want to play something.
It's filler, but it's definitely an exciting filler. It's not like a casual, laid back, yawn sort of filler.
Yeah, this is kind of like
a quick, fast, like tumble through the woods kind of thing.
Downshift here, and it's like. But yeah, so we'll come back in a little bit and tell you guys about the winner and loser and our thoughts about this. So yeah, toodles. Hello, Sarah. How's it going?
It's going.
How's your points?
Not good.
Not good?
I don't think I did poorly, just in general, but compared to Nick, I did very, very poorly. Nick's score is triple digits, and mine are like nearly 50 points less than his. So yeah, I didn't do nearly as well as Nick. He was able to do a couple things better than I was. I had 2 rounds where my score did not beat the score of my previous round. So if that happens, you get a 0, and zeros are worth -5 points at the end of the game. So not only did I miss out on any potential points that I could have gotten from these rounds, but I also lost 5 points. So I lost 10 points over these rounds here, plus any potential score I would have gotten. And then he was able to connect many more worms to the lady and flowers to the lion than I was. So I did badly just across the board in general.
So what did you think?
I typically roll and writes or flip and fills are not necessarily like one of my favorite kinds of games. Everybody who enjoys roll and writes typically tends to flip lid for games like Railroad Inc. and stuff like that. This felt reminiscent of Railroad Inc., but didn't stress me out as much, which was really nice. So I liked this better than most roll and writes I've played in the past. There's still an element of frustration in this type of game for me, though. I just can't get my routes to meet in the ways that I want them to. And that is always sort of frustrating for me. So I liked it better than other similar roll and writes. Even like I said, to me this was really reminiscent of something like Railroad Inc., but I'd way rather play this. But it is still a flip and fill or a roll and write style game. What did you think?
I liked it, but I mean it's a nice filler, but at the same time it felt too easy. It felt like I'm not trying to
crushed me.
I'm not trying to rub anything in. It just feels like there wasn't, after I got connections to other places and I was able to look at, cards while I was able to not make the most opportune decisions, I felt as though it was just, it was like kind of like my brain figured it out, so I lost interest in it. And so
it was fairly repetitive. It was pretty much doing the same thing, turn after turn after turn.
And there are games that do that aren't really like, I will play them. Like it's if they have a repetitive motion, but at the same time I can figure something else out, or it's throwing me always through a loop. I like those kind of games.
There are some things that we didn't play with, and I know nothing about them because we were not going to play with them. I didn't even look to see what they do. But I would assume that they would increase your interest in the game maybe a little bit. They seem like maybe end of game goals or something like that might shake things up a little bit more.
Yeah, but I kind of get to the feeling of there's things that shake up the game, but I don't know if I would want to play it again, and that's terrible because I'm like, well, what if you're missing out on something? And so, but then again, I don't want to, we have all these games, and I don't know if I want to put the effort into, and rolling rights, they're not my favorite. They're, I'd rather play other things than rolling rights, like Railroad Inc. I'd much rather play this than Railroad Inc.
But you'd rather not play a roll and write at all, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, there's a time and the place for all games, and it's just a lot less with the roll and writes.
Definitely going for it. Like we've both said now, we'd rather play this than Railroad Inc.
Yes.
It feels similar to Railroad Inc., but this was much more interesting and less challenging, but in a positive way. For me, Railroad Inc. was very much like you might as well just be defeated because you're not ever going to accomplish everything you want to be able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I felt like I had a chance. There was a maybe. If luck was on my side, I could pull off everything I wanted to pull off. So I feel like, to me, this was better than Railroad Inc. You said that as well. It's still a roll and write. So if you're not fond of roll and writes,
or flip and fill, if you really wanted to get nitty gritty and technical.
Yeah. But if you like roll and writes, if you like Railroad Inc., or even if you didn't, but you like other roll and writes
and flip and fills,
then I would suggest this one, especially because as I said at the beginning of the video, the player count is very attractive.
Yeah.
1 to 8 players.
Yeah.
So you can play with a lot of people or very few people.
Or that's something really going for it, is just the range that it has. Yeah. And younger players, I don't know what the age limit on the box is, but I feel like
it says 14 plus, but I feel like
there are kids that are even younger than that will totally get this game.
Plus, it's a good time, 15 minutes. I would say that's accurate.
Like we said,
even if we had like teaching and we were playing with like slow players and stuff like that, it wouldn't take more than 20-25 minutes probably. So like it is a quick, and that's like I said, if you have to teach like brand new people or slow players or that kind of thing, if you were playing with experienced gamers, 15 minutes is definitely accurate. I think
it's not overstayed its welcome, as we mentioned earlier. Yeah. This is a game that you will basically play, soar through, especially if you're...
You did say that you were bored, though.
Well, I'm not during play, just after it, like towards the end, I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm good. But like you said, you had those other cards and the solo variant, and there's also another side.
Yeah, there is. There's a backside.
There's a backside to it. So I don't,
I think
maybe give it another chance another day when we have...
One thing that I think would have been kind of nice that the game doesn't currently support is that all of these cards, these were the cards that told you what you had to draw on your board. And there are 6 different types of cards, and they're all at the bottom of the boards.
Which is nice.
They had the 90-degree angles, they had the straight lines. I think it would have been nice if every once in a while there was a intersection, just the regular four ways intersection.
Well, with that, like what I mentioned earlier when I said I was getting like, I got bored towards the end because I felt like I figured the game out. Would that make it even more, like I figured the game out faster? Would it make the game easier? I don't know,
but there were just a couple of areas where it was like it would have felt really nice if I could have had a 4-way. It'd have been like, oh, if I had a 4-way right here, that would be perfect. And if the cards would have come up and I had a 4, I would have been like, yes, So it would have felt like this sort of it would have been a good feeling. But this game to me didn't have like a ton of bad feelings either. It's not like you would have needed to contradict current frustrations or anything like that.
Yeah, I still think a 4-way in this game would be too overpowered, but if you like put 1 in there.
I was going to say, I don't think there should be that many. It seemed like there was a fairly even spread.
I would think seriously 1 or 2, because like it's really there are so many things on this board that if I had a 4-way intersection, it would have opened up even more opportunities. And
I guess the towers are kind of 4-way intersections, right?
Yeah,
So
did they? That's another way to look at it at the design.
I don't know. I think it's a more pleasant flip and fill than many of the others that I have played. It's still not something that I would be like, let's play Kokoro.
Yeah.
So if you like flip and fills or roll and writes, definitely check this one out. Or if you play with large groups of people, up to 8 people, like this, everybody can play this.
Yeah.
If you like light filler games, or if you need games that don't take a lot of time,
or if you need games even to play with your kids. I think
this would do very well.
14 is, I think, kind of high, but
it is. I would say you could, if you play games with your kids, I would say younger kids could definitely pick this up fairly easily.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think it has its purpose, just maybe not for you and me.
Correct. Yep. All right, so that was this. Oh gosh, can you say it for me?
It's Kokoro. Now you've got me messing it up. Kokoro Avenue of the Kodama.
Yes, we apologize to the publishers and everyone that can say this right. And to Indies boarding cards. we tried. I tried.
sorry.
Sarah's much better at that than I am. Of
Clearly
speaking
not. It took me 3
speaking
times.
words. Well, it took. I had to ask you to help me. Help!
Help.
Help!
They are definitely odd words. I think it has something to do with the lore. But to be honest, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what to tell you about that. There's nothing in here about the lore or anything like that other than that little thing that I read you at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's save our pronunciations till next time. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.